The total collapse of movies like Wicked and Avatar Fire and Ash have theaters in major trouble, especially as we get into 2026. Nothing big all the way until March. January and February, completely dead, likely as Avatar, Wicked, and even Zootopia barely tread water. Today, we'll tell you why theaters could be on the way out after a century of our cultural fabric. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure. It is a gift every time we get to spend time with you. Welcome back. Merry Christmas to one and all. And let's get started because theaters are not having a good time. It is not that magical time of year for your local cinema. We'll explain why they might be going away, sadly but true, and when it could come to pass. Click the like button, drop a comment down below, and here we go. Theaters in America could be in big trouble, and it all has to do with Wicked and other films not doubling down on success, but actually failing in a way that is hard to achieve. Wicked for Good has still not made the $500 million mark, despite the fact that its predecessor easily topped $700 million. And if you want to see a flat line, well, folks, that's what we call flat line. You can't even see on the chart when a weekend happens anymore. It's just barely eking up. And at this point, I gotta say, the domestic for Wicked for Good might wind down at 350. It's gonna top 500, but barely. And that's not good. It's really not good because theaters were hoping that that film would help them for the holidays. So what about Zootopia 2? You know, this is a big film. It's record breaking. Oh my gosh, it's doing so wunderbar, but it's not going far. Zootopia 2 at 1.2 billion, but most of that is international, almost $1 billion of it international. If we look at the domestic box office, you can see that after skyrocketing out of the gate, it kind of dropped off a little bit. Now, just kind of in the middle. It's just doing ho-hum, and, you know, by January, I don't know that this does much better anyway. 350 domestic for this one, okay? But it's great in China. Love it in China. Well, what about Avatar? Maybe it's going to save the day for theaters. And the reason it needs to save the day is because 2025 is going to be worse than 2024 at the box office. It's done. It's over. You can stick a fork in it. That's a fact now. So can theaters get their money back somehow in January, February? Doesn't look likely. Why? Out of Slash Film by Ryan Scott. What does Avatar Fire and Ash's box office mean for Avatar 4? Director James Cameron's much anticipated Avatar Fire and Ash is finally here, and as expected, it dominated the global box office on opening weekend. The third entry in Cameron's Avatar saga opened to $345 million worldwide, including a slightly lower than expected $88 million in the US. For those who are eager to return to Pandora for more adventures, the question now must be asked, are these numbers good enough to justify Avatar 4, both for Cameron and Disney? In short, it's complicated. The only reason this is complicated, ladies and gentlemen, is because they've already recorded or filmed the first act of the next movie. However, the problem here is that this film dropped $100 million from its opening weekend compared to the opening weekend of the prior Avatar Way of Water. That's not good. That's not great. And the reason you're seeing articles out here now questioning, will there be another Avatar? Folks, this is a big deal considering they already did the first act. We're not talking about will they start making the next one. We're talking about will they finish it? It's already gone into production. That's a big deal. And that, I think, portends what kind of dangers Hollywood is in. And this is why theaters are going to struggle. If this film does not pick up in January and February, if it doesn't have the legs that the prior Pandora films did, this gets awful because we're going to go all the way until Mario before we get a big movie to try to dig AMC and the other theater chains out of the rubble. This is awful for them, and I'm worried some of them won't make it. Let me go to Andy first. Andy, your thoughts on just how badly these films have performed domestically, even if internationally the numbers look much better.
I'm probably not the best person to ask about these because I've never gotten the hype with it. I've never been that captivated. I've loved a lot of the things Cameron's done, but I've never been able to sit through the first one all the way through and watch it from start to finish. It's just kind of boring to me. I think I watched half of the second one. This is just not my thing. So I don't understand how it made that much money to begin with. And I didn't see like the long term of, I mean, how many times can you do the same movie basically over and over again? Like, oh, look, the family's going to move here and meet a new band of villains. Kind of like, you know, a blue Johnny Quest. As far as like the whole box office coming into 2026, is there anything that anybody's really excited for? I'm wondering, they kept saying like survive until 25. Is there anything coming up on the horizon that anybody sees as saving the industry at all? I don't think they have a clue, and so therefore they don't know how to fix it.
So I'm legitimately now, I think we're at the precipice. I'm really worried about theaters. I'm really, really worried they're not going to make it. And the reason is because, as you just said, Andy, they needed Avatar, they needed Zootopia, they need Wicked to have carry through into January and February. This next year is much more difficult for me to find a way for them to make money. And the reason for that is, what do we got? We got Moana live action that's getting absolutely downvoted like we haven't seen since Snow White. We've got the Mario movie. Okay, that's going to do well, I think. So good for them. What else we have? We've got Mandalorian Grogu. I don't know about that. And then you've got Doomsday. These are the big movies. Supergirl. You think Supergirl's going to come and say this is concerning for theaters. I think 26 could be about as bad as it gets. This could be ugly.
Well, I think some of the issue here, Pro, is the next Disney film to come out that people may be interested in is an animated film called Hoppers.
Oh, get out of here!
God! I'm seriously, if Disney wants to re-enter the market, that's what they're re-entering with.
Oh my!
And that already is panned by a lot of folks.
Hey, Culture, could you tell the audience the premise of the movie Hoppers?
No.
Disney's in the hopper.
No, I will tell you that when I look forward and project forward into the calendar, I don't see anything different than you do. I see theater owners. I see the folks of NATO, the National Association of Theater Owners. I see them panicking. And I believe it already started. I mean, as I look forward, we're looking into March at this point, and that's when Hopper shows up. That's how far out I'm looking.
Hoppers not going to save anybody. Culture.
No,
Hoppers is a movie about an Asian girl working for female scientists who have figured out how to put this girl's brain into a beaver.
Well, and here's it's true, and here's all the other problems.
That's why Culture didn't want to say it. I'll say it. I'll take the heat. That's what Disney decided. Somebody pitched this to a Disney CEO and said, "What if we put an Asian girl's mind into the body of a beaver?"
Is it going to be named Winona?
Is the beaver's name Abby Normal? Anyway,
well, it's about identity. Again, every single one of these films that Disney's going to fail with is about identity. They're pushing identity politics.
It's 5 years too late.
Yeah,
if they wanted to catch hold of whatever they thought was happening in the culture, that was 5 years ago.
Can I bring up one other point about all of these films?
Please do.
Let's face it, as much as we thought a lot of the great blockbusters of the good Marvel and Star Wars and every other era were, a lot of their box office came from repeat viewings. People who said it was so good, I want to go back and see it again and again and again in the theater. None of these movies are getting that. None. And that drops their potential by 30, 40% right out of the gate. It just does. They're not making movies that wear well. Aside from being mediocre to begin with, they just don't.
Well, okay, but let me throw a counterpoint in here, because I, along with Pro, maybe some others, believe that, well, first of all, Oscar bait isn't going to do anything in the theaters anymore. You're not going to see Wuthering Heights or anything else rise to the
They're getting like 10 million.
Exactly, and it kind of like Ella McKay, which is less than 4 million right now. But you look at the Mario movie, and we're looking at April before we get a chance at $1 billion, Pro. It's April, and let's pretend that Avatar somehow still has interest in episode 4 and 5. You don't even see those until 4 won't be out until 2029. I mean, can you think of a blockbuster? And look, it's certainly not anything Star Wars related or even Marvel related, because like you, Pro, I don't think Doomsday is going to be any good. Andy?
Listen, you could tell me there's a scenario. I'm not projecting this. I'm not predicting this. There's a scenario I can see where Star Wars makes $400 million at the box office and Doomsday fails to make $1 billion.
Man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh. Especially if you're theater owners. That's the problem here. Theater owners are in trouble. Santa, what are we going to do if theaters collapse in America? And I don't see how I don't see how we don't see theaters start going out of business. Yeah. We've been doing this since the pandemic. We've been doing this since 2020 where they can't get a win.
But we've also been talking about, well, that's just it. We've been talking about this for such a long time. And to some degree, it's like, well, it's kind of Hollywood's fault because they're not making things that are compelling audiences to go and go to theaters. And then there's also the point of, well, yeah, the convenience of watching at home. Well, then there's also the point of, well, the theaters aren't innovating. And that's really where I want to hit on. Theaters haven't done enough to get people to want to go to theaters. You look at something like the Alamo Draft House, which, I don't know how many there are of those around the country, but that's been pretty big. And every time I go there, it's packed with people. Why? Because they're showing things that are not just what's in the zeitgeist right now. I mean, I saw Godzilla a couple weeks ago. It was packed. We had terrible seats because we got them late. You have to do things that give people a reason to go to these places. Unfortunately, theaters are bound to the products created in Hollywood. If Hollywood is making crap, your business is going to fall apart, and that is what we're watching. We haven't even thrown in the whole Netflix debacle that's happening with Warner Brothers and Paramount. That's another factor in there. Theaters have to do something. It's not just Hollywood's fault, and it's certainly not the audience's fault. That
you want an analogy? Do you see how many thriving Yugo dealers there are in the car business?
Hey, I want to stand up for Yugos. They were a super fun car to drive.
I'm just going to tell you. I'm just. All I'm saying is
Yugos and rabbits.
If the product sucks,
it's true. It's true.
If the product sucks, and by the way, not that we haven't talked this other subject to death, but this is all the more mitigation against anybody of either political side of the aisle letting the Netflix Warner Brothers deal happen. Because all that will do is put the final nail in the coffin of theaters, because the movies will never get that far.
Right. I mean, I really think that we have multiple paths now to theaters not being a normal thing people do in 5 years.
And what do you do if you're the falafel guy in the food court next to the movie theater at the mall? What do you do? Because you see your audience
sell your falafels on Amazon.
Well, yeah, right.
That's about it.
As designer falafels for $50. I mean, God, the stuff that they sell. I got an ad in my Facebook thing the other day for a Greek olive mix in a jar, and it looked really good. And then I say, well, gee, I would buy that jar of olive stuff. $54 plus shipping.
Expensive olive stuff.
There's no olives I want that bad that I'm going to buy that. That's all. It's just the principle of the thing, Yeah.
So, Lauren, let's talk about people buying stuff. You're an expert when it comes to Star Wars. It's obviously been in a very bad place for a very long time now. What do you think it earns, and what would you guess about some of these films like Doomsday? Like, how do you think that audience is going to respond to these things? Is this going to be, I don't want to call it a wake-up call at this point, because it's too late. If these things bomb, I mean, I don't know what Disney does except just say it's over.
If they continue the short release schedule, I don't see them making but a fraction of what they used to make. They can't, because people will just wait them out. If they know it's going to be on a streaming service in a month, why would you pay for a family to go see the movie theater at the theaters? I'm a theater guy. I love going to the theater. But to take my son and to buy concessions, that's $100 for a movie that might be middling. And if it's not something that I need to see on opening night, I'm probably not going to go see it in the theater. So unless they start extending the release windows again and actually start putting out quality product, they're in real trouble. I wouldn't try to guess at the box office numbers. That's not my bag. But They need to do something to address both the release window and the quality of the content.
68% of our audience say that they have not seen a theater or not seen a movie in a theater this fall or winter. I mean, going back to September, 68%. And listen, the people watching right now, they're the kind of people who are inclined to care about entertainment, obviously.
Yeah.
68% have not stepped inside a theater in the last 2 seasons, half a year.
Well,
That's a problem.
I think the bigger problem is overcoming the objections that are built in nowadays. Expense. You guys just talked about it, right? Lauren just mentioned it with concessions, ticket prices, and everything else. You get a family of 4 in there, that you are over $100. You know, and then these popcorn buckets, if you want something exclusive. The popcorn bucket for one of these things for Avatar was $84 from what was reported to me for one of these Avatar popcorn buckets.
It better have some of that whale goo stuff they're trying to get the movie.
Yeah. The what was that? The Fountain of Youth or whatever?
It's not unobtainium. They had that the first time, so it was whale goo-tonium. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing they're pulling out of the brain of the, what do you call it? The super alien that was nowhere in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But look, I'm looking at all of this, and I don't see a whole lot of things coming to theaters that are going to inspire people to overcome their objections they have now, with not just the expense, but the amount of time. Think about this, Andy, or anybody here. Did you guys go see this latest Avatar film?
No.
It's It's 3 hours and 17 minutes long. Not
Plus
counting
30-minute
previews.
Yeah, 4 hours. 4-hour experience. I've been there.
And if you have to drive there a half an hour, 20 minutes to get to the theater you go to that has the good seats, the good sound, and all that. Yeah, exactly. So you're spending half a day, the better part of a productive day during the Christmas season.
Can I just tell you, Culture, I was very proud of myself. I drank a large Coke Zero.
Oh, wow.
And did not have to go out of the theater, not once. I made it through the whole movie.
That's because it was fire and ash. If it was Way of Water, you would have been more inspired.
That's probably true. I'm going to say this. To me, these films are always going to have a repetitive message. They're always going to repeat Ferngully all over again multiple times. And they're always going to make one particular race on planet Earth the bad guys.
Oh, you mean what Critical Drinker talks about?
Yeah.
I loved his video.
Oh,
it's phenomenal.
His video is phenomenal. I say as much, or I think I said as much in the video that I dropped about it. And you actually included it in the article that you wrote.
Oh yeah. Great minds think alike. Who knows?
They do. And I'll just say that as I'm paying attention to other people who are reviewing this, the repetitive situation is something everybody talks about, that just keeps repeating the same things from the last movie. It's just a cycle of repeat, right? And you don't, the losses that occur, they don't really impact you. Just like you don't remember the characters' names. There's nothing about these films that are memorable or impactful. And as real life fake wizard, or at this point fake Santa, says, it doesn't. Exactly. You don't. It doesn't permeate the cultural zeitgeist. There's nothing that's doing that.
Now, cultural. You're talking about over and over and over again, the same thing over and over again. Culture. You know what probably has the best chance of doing well next year? Toy Story 17. I mean 5. Yeah. So, hey, theaters, go Woody, go Buzz. Let's do it again, because that's all we got, because Hollywood is toast. Helping Hollywood produce a product that you want to consume, that's what we do each and every day, folks. And this time, it's time to, well, say goodbye. We know, but don't cry. No, for we will have more videos on the way. We love to bring those videos and that information. And by the way, if you'd like even more, consider going to the Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/WDW Pro. It's where we put out stuff exclusively there that we simply can't put out in other places for whatever reason, be it because it's too spicy or because, well, perhaps we're working to corroborate it. But you can find out things early and first over there. Folks, we surely have had a great time spending time with you. Consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, Click it and stick it to those pesky algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment right on down below. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.